Bonjour and welcome. Welcome to Know Your Matter, the Blondes Restoration Conversation.
Just so you know, I had a real moment where you went bonjour, and all I could think in my brain went, I don't know any other.
I
other
don't
words.
speak French.
I don't know any other words that I can
don't
speak already in the
French,
languages
so
for
I
hello.
let the funky
Hiya.
music do the talking.
I was like, I need to come back with something witty. Oh yeah, that's not going to happen today.
That's 2 podcasts in a row we've sang on.
So you have?
Yeah, well, you sang on the first one.
Did I?
Yeah, the last one you did.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? I did. I've forgotten.
Welcome, willkommen. Hi, welcome to the podcast.
Stop showing off. Stop showing your range of languages.
Is it showing off or
Yes.
is it weird?
It doesn't really matter. I'm impressed.
Could be both. Thanks. Welcome. We had a request, and I'm gonna tell you the request, what she said, and then how we interpreted it. So somebody got in touch with me and asked for us to talk about endings and why people really struggle with the ending of things. So like maybe it's weekends away and they find it really hard when they have to go home. Ends of course of trainings, friendships, jobs, even the end of the summer season can be a real struggle. And we sort of chatted about that a little bit, didn't we? And we actually sort of interpreted it slightly differently because we don't think it's necessarily ending, because I don't think that anything really ever ends. I think it's more of a transition, isn't it? It's a movement from one state into a new state. So it's a movement from a weekend away, of being a weekend away with loads of people that you love and having a great time, to having to go back to work with people that you might not love and that you might not have a great time with and you might not be able to be yourself in front of. Or with summer, maybe you're the kind of person that the sun makes you happy, not like me, but whatever, we're different. But maybe you're the kind of person who loves the sun, loves the warmth, loves the freedom that summer brings. And actually, as it gets greyer and darker and colder, you find that transition really hard. So it's not necessarily the end of summer that's difficult. It's the transition into something different. So that's what we're kind of gonna chat about transitions, aren't we?
Yeah, and I would say for some people endings might be difficult. What's really key with what you said there is that often it is this transition into something else, and endings are a part of a transition. So transitions are three parts, and I'll come to that in just a second.
Nothing stops.
Yeah, it's the way that it flows into, if it's given the opportunity. But I definitely want to talk about this because I think this is really interesting. As somebody, and someone that I'm sat to you to show.
I did.
Oh gosh,
sorry. We're filming this late. It's after 5 o'clock. I know. Crazy.
I wasn't thinking that was late, but it is late today, isn't it, for us? Because normally we are morning.
Yeah, normally we're 10 a.m.
Yes. So that's. I think it's interesting to think that we've both probably been through quite a lot of transitions. And actually the research shows that most adults go through a life transition every 12 to 18 months, which is just mind-blowing. But anyway, let me just share with you a really simple definition. A transition is any period of change between one state, season, or role and another. It's the in-between space where what was familiar is ending and what's next hasn't fully arrived yet.
So you're not in it
yet.
I
love that. This transition bit is this little middle bit. And the research shows that transitions are stressful. Even the positive ones are stressful. And this was found because our brain doesn't love uncertainty. Yeah. So the neuroscience behind it, I made a note on this, shows that uncertainty activates the amygdala, that's our threat center in our brains, and can trigger anxiety. And that's why even, actually our listeners saying there about summer into, the end of summer into autumn, that kind of thing, even that can feel unsettling to us, because anxiety. And trigger that anxiety in that way. So I thought it might be good for us to talk about transitions that we've been through, and then I've got some other thoughts around this, and some of the notes that I made in terms of what happens, because transitions, I don't know about you, Lauren, but I can look back through some of my life and see some of these transitional periods that I've had where something has been ending and the next thing hasn't fully happened yet, and how I would have done anything to not be in the messy middle. Can I just end that and let go, and can I just get into this new thing and just get started? Because there is that's that thing, isn't it? It triggers this anxiety, our nervous system states shift, we don't know what's happening. And this is why it's important, because there is the ending and letting go. There is then what they call the neutral zone, and then it's the new beginning. So that is something, there's a gentleman by the name of William Bridges transition model that is widely used in psychology and leadership as well. It's those three phases, and most of us rush the middle stage. So I would even ask out the people that are listening, can you think of any transitional periods in your life, and how did you find the middle bit, where you've got to kind of, I wanted to shift my body, then get used to, it just doesn't, when something doesn't feel right because it's new. Maybe starting a new, and I know some people that are listening possibly are starting new jobs, or maybe they're going to college, or you need to go do a new course, so there's a lot of different transitions, particularly for me, that September brings. It is the shift you said from the summer into autumn. I mean, I particularly like that one. But, it is this thought of how do we get the best out of the messy middle bit from it, this zone where we get an opportunity to reflect and kind of, make some decisions about what we want to see happen next.
Loads of things are in my head
Go on.
as you're talking, because I'm thinking about, like, as a teacher, especially moving schools. So you are working for, school A, and then you get to the sort of end of the summer term. And the end of the summer term in itself is a massive sort of transitional zone, because what I feel like once the GCSEs happen, there's this thing that happens in your brain where you're like, well, the year's kind of basically over, but you've still got all of these other kids who are doing exams and doing all this kind of stuff, and it's really hard to keep yourself motivated because your body's moving into the neutral zone, but you're not supposed to. But then it's even harder when you're moving schools, because then you kind of clock out and you don't mean to do it. Like, and I never meant to do it, because the school I was leaving was one of my favorite places in the world. Like, I loved it so much. And obviously you've then got this massive long summer, which isn't massive and long. And I 100% believe that teachers deserve the summers that they get, because teaching's exhausting. And I don't think you could teach without that kind of break. But then you've got this massive amount of time where it's like, I just want to get in and get started. And it kind of puts like a weird spin on that summer, even though it's the summer and you're supposed to be resting and stuff. I reckon you probably don't, because your nervous system's like, oh, like in this little zone.
That it's so interesting when you think about it, and like, that, and also your rhythms are thrown off, aren't there? So there's the bit there, what I noticed there was the part there where it's almost, there's the ending, isn't it? So you the ending is you're leaving this school, things are all shifting, you've possibly still got students that you're working with in that moment as you're now heading into the summer. But you're right, how many people talk about that feeling of being checked out? In fact, I'd go as far to say as that can happen when you're going on holiday. How many people do that whole thing of, I've still got a week left at the job, but actually I feel like I've already checked out because I'm desperate to be on the holiday. So there's this transition, isn't it, into this next place? So for you though, like you're saying there with the school holidays, then you've got this, extended period which allows you to rest and recuperate, supposedly. And then, actually you're going into a new school.
So it's that's a massive transition.
It is. And if you get stuck between kind of almost ruminating over what had happened,
and then
worrying about what was, rather than this moment in the middle where, and a little bit later, we've got some questions where I'm going to really get people thinking about reflecting on what are they experiencing.
Because now with all of this knowledge, I'm like, oh my God, the things I could have done to like prepare myself better. And actually, and I don't mean like prepping work. I don't mean having built like, PowerPoints or systems or anything like that. But I would have spent it resting, being creative, spending time with friends, like really just doing things that kind of challenged me, but in like a fun way. Maybe I'd travel somewhere new, and I look back and like panic sort of stops that from happening, and you kind of do that thing where you go out to drink like a fair bit and it's the summer and all that kind of stuff. But it also made me think of the similarities because of what the person who'd put the message out to us to talk about it, the ending of a weekend. And if you have a brilliant weekend away and you have a brilliant holiday and you felt at home and you felt rested and you feel, and it's not it's not rest as in staying still, but it's the kind of rest that you need for your soul. Like,
there are 7 types of rest we need.
Yeah.
I won't layman now. We'll do that. We'll do another podcast on that. But yes.
But it's, it's that kind of rest
Yeah.
that's like restorative rest. Yeah, I got restoration in there. And then, that ends, and that's a really hard thing, because it's like, but would it be hard if there wasn't trepidation of what was next? I think that was my thought when we first got it, because it was like, if you have this gorgeous weekend and like Sunday afternoon you get home, and then if going back to work on the Monday morning is the hard part, if getting back into the routine is the hard part, if you're exhausted, if you're struggling with people at work, if you're that, of course that's going to be really difficult to manage, because you're not only saying goodbye to something that was wonderful, but then the trepidation of going into something that's really tough. Like, and it's like, actually, that neutral zone isn't neutral.
Yeah. And
because it's actually full of fear.
Well, there's
anxiety.
the messy middle bit, isn't it? That's the bit. And it's funny, because one of the questions that I'd written down, what story am I telling myself about this transition? And does it support me or scare me?
Yeah. Because actually, logistically, is there a way to come into the Monday feeling differently? Yeah,
well, even the Sunday scaries, they talk about that, don't they? That's the whole bit about transitioning into, going to work on a Monday morning, and how many of us spend that time telling ourselves stories about it's going to be hard, it's going to be this, it's going to be the other.
I'm going to be tired.
Yeah, we've already set we're now already in a state of fight or flight. We're now already, and potentially getting into overwhelm.
Stress, already getting
all
there.
of that. Our body, and remembering that our body and our mind, our mind doesn't just tell our body what to do. Our body tells our mind what to do. We were doing that on our PQ workshop, because we were talking about how, actually you think about when you're really feeling worry and stress and everything else, the way that you hold your body. And I got them all giggling. You do it. I'm going to invite you to do it right now. If you start listening to this right now, I want you to think about a time in your life when you felt really kind of stressed and worried and a bit fearful, and just embody that, because you're right, your shoulders come in, you're like, oh,
I'm not doing it because it hurt.
And that's so I'm doing it now, and I'm like, oh, I'm right in, and in this moment I really want you to try and feel joy. Go on, give it a good shot. Because it's hard, you can't, because our body is telling our brain, oh no, we're this is not good. We need to protect ourselves. We need to be, in survival mode. And it's like, actually, now just actually shake that off if you have given it a go, and now just embody a different posture, openness. Thinking about a time when you felt confident, when you felt happy, what happens to the state of your body? Because you can begin to shift what your body's now telling your brain. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. And actually,
that like thoughts are not truths thing really comes in. And this is not to, right, and I just want to say this because I know that when I was really struggling in one of my jobs, hearing this might have triggered me to go into a place where I'm like, oh, so I could just choose to be happy then.
Oh, that's not
right.
Yeah, that's not it.
And I need to be really clear that isn't what we're saying. This isn't well, you just be happy with your lot. That's not what this is.
Complete opposite.
What we're saying is we have more control over our thoughts. We have more control over the way that our body responds, and that you can, as much as your brain tells your body to do things, you can hold your body in a certain way. So I'm not talking about this woman because I like her, but Nicola Sturgeon's got a power stance. Right? She's got the power stance. She's got like the Wonder Woman fucking legs astride, hands on it power stance, right? And I'm not saying that I like her, but the point is, if you stand like you want to feel, you can convince yourself you feel that way.
Yeah.
That's why they go shoulders back. There's a reason they say shoulders back.
Chest open.
Shoulders back, chest open.
Stand over the hips, legs slightly apart, feet flat on the floor, feeling the power.
Strength.
Yeah, thinking about where your hands are and your arms are, because it's all of that. And I think that's the bit, isn't it? That,
It doesn't stop the people you work with from being knobheads.
No, but it can change.
But it stops how you perceive them, maybe. It stops. Maybe, instead of it feeling like a barrage of all of this shit that comes at you, maybe it just feels like, oh, it's that stuff I've got to deal with.
And coming back to what we were saying, because that's about, that question was, what story are you telling yourself in that transitional period? you know, and for a lot of people, and I've read loads of stuff that talks about, particularly the Sunday night thing.
Sunday night
Actually, it starts
scaries.
Sunday morning. You know, it's
Yeah.
already Sunday. Oh my God, I'm going back to work tomorrow. That kind of thing. And I have experienced that for sure.
I would say it starts even earlier than that. I would say on the Friday you're already thinking about how much can you fit in,
For some people, yeah.
if that's what you're worried about.
Yeah.
If
And
it's
there's
that
the,
much of a
I
difficulty.
worry that I waste my weekend. I don't pack enough in it. All of that happens, and obviously that has such an impact physically on our body, and then the mental exhaustion that comes with that. I saw something. I mean, obviously this was really hard to watch because it was Chris Hemsworth. I mean, it was a nightmare. It was a night. I mean, terrible. Chris Hemsworth, if you're listening, I'm lying completely. It was lush just to see your face. But he was in an interview. Did you just say I'm so weird?
I get to say that because I'm weird too.
I'll take it. So Chris Hemsworth is in an interview, chatting with this young woman, and she asks him a question because he must have at one point been talking about feeling nervous about things, and he talks about how he learned that nervousness and excitement are pretty much the same physiological response in the body.
Yeah, the same hormone
And that
or whatever.
quite simply, it's about
chemicals.
the story that you tell yourself that happens when you feel those feelings and physiological
Yeah, so you get the
patterns.
fizz in your body, you get that like specific thing that fires in your brain, and you either interpret it
That's
as
it. It's all in perception.
excitement, or you interpret it as nervousness. So you can choose which way you're going to do.
And
that.
he said
we do
that's
actually because
it.
we talk about nervited a lot. When it's
Nervited.
actually a little bit of both.
Yeah.
That happens a lot for us, doesn't it?
And it's
So
noticing it, isn't
So
it? And
he
that
said-
literally, he said that what he's learned to do, because he still gets nervous before he starts a film. You know, he's
so.
still because he wants to do a damn good job, and that's the bit, isn't it? Or whatever it is that he wants to achieve. But I loved the fact that he was talking about the fact that this is the story. And again, you know, if you've been listening to a lot of our podcasts, we talk about the fact that our nervous systems hold stories.
Yeah.
You know, they remember the things that we often don't, which is why sometimes we'll behave in a way and we can't believe that we've just reacted to something in the way that we did. So yeah, transitions are they're a little bit of gold dust, really.
Yeah.
If you can look at them in that way, in that they give us an opportunity to really reflect and work things out. It's often in a coaching situation, you know, I may ask a question and people, they don't know.
Yeah.
So I can follow that up with, how does it feel to not know?
Yeah.
That can then start to tell you something that's going on for somebody, or for them to begin to realise, how are they feeling about not having, you know, the knowledge or the experience, or, you know, the opportunity really to just feel confident about what's coming next. If they don't know.
Yeah.
How comfortable can we get with sitting with the don't know?
Yeah, that's really interesting actually, because one of the things that I'm not sure I really understood from the text that we got was about like trainings and stuff like that, and like why is it a struggle to end a training, and I didn't think anything badly of it, but I just didn't really look at that as like a thing, because I was a bit like, I didn't really understand it, I suppose. And when you were just talking there, I just had this image actually of when I went into sales and did that for a year.
Did you enjoy that, Lauren?
Oh, it was my favourite. I really enjoyed cold calling people. I liked it a lot. I did not enjoy
About as much
that
as I would.
But I loved the training. I really enjoyed the training because the training was comfortable, because it was role plays with people who weren't going to tell me to fuck off. You know, I was good at it because I was following, like, I did really well at it. And actually, you know, that ended and I felt really like nervous about that. But of course I did, because then I had to go and put it into practice, and that's shit scary. But then I guess that's the thing, isn't it, with training, is that there's a comfort in training. When you're training for anything, there's a comfort in it.
Yeah, generally. And if it's a good training, what happens is you feel valued, you feel seen,
heard.
you feel heard.
Yeah.
You know, you
get to
take,
explore it a little bit.
Exactly.
It's fun.
It gives you a window into what's possible.
Yeah. You're not berated when you get things wrong.
So the transition then back into real life, if that's what you want to call it, this is where the scaries start to come.
I have a great question for you that I've just thought about.
No.
So you provide training to people in corporate spaces. And one of the things that I remember, like from being a teacher, but also in corporate stuff is that like I'd do a training and I would absolutely adore the training and it would be such a good day. And then like I'd go home and I'd be fired up and all this kind of stuff. And then what would happen is you'd come in the next day and fuck all had changed. Like, because nobody gave a shit. And I'd always be like, I want to put this training into practice and I want to do these things. But people fall back into their habits so quickly. And like, I guess as a trainer, like, how do you try and avoid that? Like, what advice would you give? I guess that's two separate questions. One is like, how would you avoid that with the people in the room? How would you get them to try and not just forget it when they leave? And then the other one, for their leadership, how would you talk to them about keeping it going? They're my two questions.
Marvellous. Instantly, as you were talking, even before you'd asked the two questions, I was thinking about positive intelligence. There was a really brilliant pie chart that I saw right at the beginning when I began it
This is
a
the
number of years
80-20.
ago, and this is the 80-20%.
It's the Pareto rule.
20% is
Pareto's law.
So 20% of change is to do with, you know, the reading, the knowledge. 80% is putting it into practice, and of course
80% of change is led by 20% of your actions. That's the thing.
Cool. So that's an additional thing, definitely. Yeah. And on top of that, then this is about the fact that, you know, so you go, it's that thing, isn't it? You go read a great book, you go on a great training, you watch a film, you're inspired by what you hear or see, and then you go home and then 6 months later, nothing's different. And it is to do with the fact that we sabotage ourselves.
Yeah.
It literally, that's what it comes down to.
I can see the pie chart in my head because
Yeah.
the 20% is insight, so that's what we learn. That's the physical training, like what you're learning and
It's
all that
the
kind
muscle.
and it's called, but it's another eye. I'm sure it is. That's another thing, and it's like but for positive intelligence, it is building the muscle, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then how would you?
Well, it's intercepting the muscle. Come back to a conversation we had earlier. It's intercepting it. So it was interesting.
What would you do if it wasn't a positive intelligence training?
I would still talk about the fact that this is gonna take practice,
right?
And it is. We need to create an environment where people feel safe to make mistakes. And actually, that we want to create something, or an organisation wants to create a space where people can talk about these things. Where actually, if this is a change for a team, that it generally isn't just the team. It's a bigger picture. It's got to be everybody.
Yeah.
And it's about knowing how that feels for everybody.
Yeah.
So being open to talk about the emotions that come with it. The fact that actually people will not want to give it a go because it's scary to give it a go. Will not want to, or will want to give it a go, but need to have feedback. There was it's in literally, as I was just speaking, there's also, from my previous role, there's a brilliant little poem that I love, which is, tell me, show me, let me try, watch me, praise me, see me fly. Yeah. And so tell me all of this stuff. And that's generally the bit, isn't it? Show me it. So let's have a go together.
Yeah.
Let me try. That's the bit where it starts to go wrong.
Yeah, because actually it's just like they just like go off and do it now. I've given you all the information.
That's
go and put it into
but
practice.
that is training. That is reading that book. It's like I can go back and I can look at it, but the bit where the transitional, messy middle bit is the bit where I've got to have the practice and give it a go and reflect and think about how I feel about that.
Which is wild because they'd never do that in teaching. Maybe some people would, but as a teacher, I'd never, give a kid a physics equation, show them how to do it on the board and expect them to be able to do it in practice.
Yeah.
That'd be well too hard. Yeah. I'd then give them a chance to try it out. Then I'd bring them back in and we'd do it again. Then we'd see, you know what I mean? Like, and it'd be like levels, and then it would be.
Watch me, praise me, see me fly.
Yeah.
That and almost, if you think about it like a flowchart effect, we've got to go back around that bit, and that's the bit. And sometimes, you know what, Lauren, you've got to go back up to the top bit. We've got to tell people again, or let them watch again and let them see it. Show me again, because we all learn. I do not just learn by seeing it. I need to have visual, audio, and have a go.
Yeah.
That's how I learn best.
Interestingly, that was one of the biggest things that came out about, I don't know if you can remember, but it came out when I was a kid and we did this huge thing. It was like, what kind of a learner are you? Are you kinesthetic? Are you audio? Are you visual? And everyone kind of got lumped into these places where it's like, how do you learn the best? And I remember being really annoyed because I was never any of them. I was all of them.
All of them.
But I think everyone's all of them. I think everybody on different days learns in different ways, and that's what it's about, isn't it? But it's interesting. So actually, it sounds like one of the biggest things is that nobody should expect that change will happen immediately. Like, that's the whole point of training. But You laugh, but I don't think people know that. And I think a CEO...
I didn't mean to laugh. I think that's really... But I just think that's the bit...
No, but it is ridiculous though, isn't it?
But most change is about practice.
But a CEO who's brought this training in because he wants to see this change, and I'm sorry that I'm making it a him, but stereotypically, like, actually, the advice is that they're going to have time to put this into place. They're going to have time to practice it. They need time to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, if you expect immediate results, you're going to be disappointed.
Yes, and also then that's going to have a detrimental effect. And also one of the biggest things, so now when people come away from training, they need to make a plan, and that plan needs to be broken down into the smallest steps. And the smallest steps, right, that then are celebratory.
Yeah.
So you need to make the steps small enough and sufficient enough to then be able to celebrate them.
Yeah.
And then create an environment where people can come back to what I was talking about before, laser focus on them. So it's that, but also understanding that sometimes even though I know this is not about people always doing positive intelligence, the learning from it is amazing because, if you think about, I've come away from a training, I've got so excited, I can think about what I used to do, and people get so excited about this, and it's like, I offer a particular perspective or a particular way to do it on the training, but that doesn't fit with me when I get home because my circumstances are not the same as what I watched. I need to be able to pull on parts of me that offer me compassion when I get it wrong.
Yeah.
And understanding. Also then be able to explore
as well.
Yeah, explore in what other ways could I do this then? Because this idea and being able to achieve this was so exciting to me. Yeah. Right. Now I need to be able to explore in what way might I be able to do that different. Yeah. Maybe I go and explore a YouTube video on it that actually shows it in a different way. It's all of that, but I think that's the point, isn't it? Change needs practice. Have we got the right environments for people to be able to practice in and cock it up and have another go? And somebody that understands that is what's going to happen. Because there was just to say, there was it's really out of context because I can't remember the whole bigger thing about it. But I always remember reading Simon Sinek's book, Why? And what really struck me was a business that had been successful, then not, and had been taken over. And the gentleman that had taken it over, one of the things that he did with his leadership team was he really encouraged them to talk about where they'd made mistakes and how then they'd changed that.
Yeah.
So helping people to see that it was okay, that things don't always go right.
Yeah.
And yet they'd still, been able to achieve the things that they'd been able to achieve. We don't talk about that enough. But I think that come back to this. That's why often we don't want to be in the transitional periods. We don't want the messy middle bit because it don't feel comfortable. Yeah. It doesn't feel nice to fail. It doesn't feel nice to get it wrong. We worry about disappointing people. We worry about the fact that we're going to disappoint ourselves, that we're no good, we're not enough, and that's the narrative, isn't it? Whereas actually, gosh, what if we just created spaces where it was all right to get it wrong? Where actually that's your aim today, Yeah. And that you're going to be in a supportive environment where people, are okay with that, and they're going to help you. And, because you learn to be self-compassionate with that, you bring that mama bear energy that shows you that it's all right to, you realise you've made a mistake. You realise that you're not feeling great about it. You're not going to run away from that feeling, because we don't run away from, fear and disappointment. Actually, we build our capacity to be able to sit with it. And then we now realise it's not just us. People around the world. In fact, some of the best, kind of things that have been created have come from mistakes. I've not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that do not work.
Make a light bulb.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all of that. And then ultimately, I get the chance to practice, so that then it becomes ingrained in me. Because I was talking yesterday on the workshop a little bit about one of the, it's almost like I see it as a little square in my head. We have these habits and ways of being on autopilot. So we're just unaware of them, unconsciously unaware. Yeah. And then what happens, we go on a training or we read a book, and suddenly it's like, oh my word, I want to do it like that, right? That's what I want to achieve. And now we begin to realise that there are these habits and the things that we do that are getting in our way and stopping us. So we become consciously aware of, how we're behaving and acting and feeling and thinking. For me, this is then the transitional period between what we're actually doing at this moment and now being able to see where we want to be, and now the practice. And it's the same with any transition. There's this messy, what can feel like a messy middle bit where we don't know. And that's where we go off and we look for people that do.
Yeah.
We maybe look for, different ways, and we find mentors. That's the whole thing. This is where the scaffolding comes in essence.
Yeah.
That's what's for me, that's what organizations need, is the capacity to be able to offer that space
to
the messy middle.
Yeah.
The messy middle that allows people to be able to do that and to be able to practice. Because it's as simple as that. It's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And as you were talking about all of that, so obviously it came back in my head to self-compassion. And it made me think of the original question. And I was, thinking, going back to what we were talking about the weekend, because this is it, isn't it? It's like you finish this weekend and then you're stressed out about the next, and how do you deal with the ending? Self-compassion. Taking a minute to first of all acknowledge, like, why are you feeling sad? So like, I'm feeling really sad because I really enjoyed spending time with all of those people, and I felt like I could be myself, and I really loved that, and I'm sad that that's ending. And it's like, and then it's like that common humanity, because you weren't the only person who left that weekend feeling the same. In fact, most of the people did. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually, that was the point, was that everybody had a great time.
And maybe
Everyone
other people haven't told you that. Maybe you don't,
but
and
they
you don't even need to know,
it.
but you will, even just
acknowledging that other humans will feel.
Yes.
And if they'd been through your experiences and had your life and were stood in your shoes, they would feel the same.
They would.
Of course they would, because they'd have your experiences. And then I think it's the next step that people get stuck at. Because then it's like, okay, what do you need? Because if the transition bit, if you're in the messy middle and you're looking at Monday morning and you're thinking to yourself, why do I get to work and I don't... Right, okay, what do you need? What do you need? What's going to make this easier? What's going to put you in a place to feel like you're in the zone? And I feel like you're about to tell us the questions you'd like them to reflect on, which makes us perfectly timed again.
Never.
Give us a fucking medal.
But it is the mama bear energy. And what I mean by mama bear energy, like,
I know, because I know what you mean, but the term like
for
really like makes me twitch
exactly
a little
for you
bit.
and I is, well, I would bring my mama bear energy for you as for my 4 kids.
Yeah.
If they were kind of struggling with something, and I'd give them the space I would have given you guys space to think about it, but I would not have just let you sit in that space and stayed in that transition. Once you'd done that thinking, I'd be the one behind you going, you can do it, you can sort it, come on. I'd bring kindness, because kindness is action. Yeah. It's like, and also I'd bring honesty. I'd need to be honest with myself, because this isn't going to get me what I want. So let's say I want to, maybe I'm stuck in a job that I don't enjoy. Maybe that's the thing. I've come away from that weekend. I spent time with these people, and I've really enjoyed myself. I felt like I could be me. What's the actual reality? The reality is I'm not enjoying my job. I need to be open with myself. My mama bear energy is the bit that I bring that then goes, then what am I going to do about it? Because I don't want to stay stuck.
Yeah.
And I think often that's what we don't do. We feel like we go around in circles because nothing changes. It won't until we bring...
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah, until you bring in mama bear energy, or papa bear energy, if that's what you would really like to call it. But until you bring this energy, which is kindness, is truth.
Yeah.
And it's truth in action. So
it's
what
bestie
is
energy,
it?
isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's it for me. I think it's because, nothing against the term or anything, it's that... Right, I might be afraid of doing something for myself, but if you put my friend in a position where she needed me, I'd fucking do it for her.
Yeah, and if she asked you for that advice,
and
or
if
whatever
she needed
it was,
my help, and
would.
a lot of people recognise it. You wouldn't want to go up to a bar and ask for and tell them that your chicken was undercooked. But if your friend's was, you'd be brave enough to go and do it. And it's bringing that energy for yourself. That like, hang on, I know something needs to change. I know something I can do this, and I'm worth doing it for. I'm worth doing it for too. So go on, give me.
Can I just 1 second though? You're saying about bestie energy and you go and do it. Or I'd be the friend that'd go, you can do this, Lauren.
Yeah.
Lauren, what do you need to say? So it might even be that's it. So it's different versions of it, but it's knowing that I'm there for you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I need to be there for me.
Yeah.
That's the key. Right. So if we think about some of these now, right, and really important to give yourself the little bit of space to pause.
These are just some questions, by the way.
Yeah,
if you
just
struggle with
reflective
endings, if you
questions.
struggle with transitions, if you see yourself in any of these situations, these are reflective questions for you to just consider.
What am I being asked to let go of right now, even if I don't feel ready? What am I being asked to let go of right now, even if I don't feel ready? And I'd say pause in between these if you want to make a note of them, because I know some people have said they like to journal on what we're saying. Where am I in the transition cycle? Am I in the ending? Am I in the in-between? Or am I in that kind of neutral zone, or messy middle, as I like to call it? Or am I at the new beginning bit? Yeah. So just even reflecting
all of
where
which
I
might
am.
be uncomfortable.
What I love this, because I would like us at some
yet.
point in the future to talk about rituals.
Okay.
Slightly different to habits, but rituals are quite special in the way that they can help us to form habits. What small ritual could help me honour this season of change? Lighting a candle, taking a walk at the same time each day, or writing a goodbye letter. So just a little ritual that could help me with this transitional period. Yeah, so something that might be honouring that. What story am I telling myself about this transition? And does it support me or scare me? So we said that one a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Who or what helps me feel anchored when everything else feels uncertain?
That's a really good one. I really like that one, because then you know who you can send a text to or give a ring, or don't ever ring me because I don't like it. But you could send me a text. Yeah. Or even what makes me feel anchored? Is it journaling?
I love
Is it
that.
meditating? For me, it's probably like something to do with paint. Makes me feel.
Do you know what it is for me? Being sat on the settee and looking at the tree outside. Beachy. We call the big beech tree, which is huge, but it's beautiful. There's something about being sat looking out that huge window and being able to see the trees, and just that just what helps to anchor me. And it's almost like that feet, floor, what's around me.
Yeah.
Just that moment.
You know what mine is at the minute? This is really sad. But Dave bought me a game on the Nintendo Switch, and it's called Tales of the Shire. And it's set after Lord of the Rings, and you're a little hobbit, right? But the only aim of the game, and this was always the thing, because I don't particularly enjoy like games and stuff, because I don't want to race. But all you've got to do as this little hobbit is you get to plant a little garden, and you harvest vegetables, and you make friends, and you invite them over for dinner, and you do cooking, and it's so cute, and you go fishing. Mum, it's amazing. I absolutely love it.
I would like a Switch, and please can I have that game?
Yes. And I've got that stress thing on my watch that tells me when I'm stressed, and it goes, you're in a great zone. 30 minutes of that, and it goes, you're in a great zone.
I need that in my life.
It does something to me, just this like really, I curl up on the sofa with this little Switch, and it's great for Dave, because Dave can now play his game and just get away with it instead of needing to talk to me. And I can curl up on the sofa, and honestly, it brings me right down. It's so weird. But yeah, that would be mine. Sorry, are there any other questions?
One final question. If I trusted that this in-between time was fertile ground, what would I dare to imagine growing here?
Oh,
I love that one.
Nice
I'll say it again. If I trusted that this in-between time was fertile ground, what would I dare to imagine growing here?
Oh, I love that. I love that. And my brain's like firing, because it's like, oh, little bravery plant. Like that, I'm brave. Maybe that's what I'm going, because we're going through a lot of transitions as well with work and stuff. So
at the beginning of doing this, because this was a massive transition, wasn't it, for us, from the lives that we'd held before and what we'd done.
The safe, and I'm doing that in inverted commas for anyone who doesn't know, the safe careers to this.
I remember though feeling like I was, well, it's the analogy of the plant that is growing, so the seed that's been planted, and we don't see what's going on underneath.
The
roots
whole
that grow
energy,
first,
the roots and the little leaf that grows
and
before
everything
it comes
before
out.
it then pops up and goes, hello.
Hi, son.
It's that. So there's a whole, what is that? What is growing? What are the roots that are forming? What is it that you're realizing? So
It's very opportunistic. Oh, that was nice.
I love that one.
I
love them all, in honesty.
Yeah, we do. Please send us your thoughts, opinions, films that you've watched, books that you've read, podcasts that you've listened to, that make you think, make you feel, make you think, about whether or not you matter. Maybe you've got something that you've changed about your life that you'd love to share with people, you know, just get in touch and make it part of the conversation.
I would love people's reflections on the podcast. I'd love to know what resonated with you. I'd love to know what your answers were to those questions, you know, and you can contact us through a variety of ways.
I was literally just going to say, because somebody actually got in touch with me to ask me, like, whoever in your mind you're speaking to when you're having the
Lauren
thought,
or me.
send it to that person, because it might be that you've connected with mum better on a certain thing. It might be that you've connected with me better. You can contact us both on Instagram. We're both available on Instagram. You can contact us both by email, which you can find on our website.
Yeah.
And if you do happen to have us on Facebook, you can also contact us by Messenger through there as well. So there's loads of different options.
Yeah.
We are just happy to hear from you. And we thank you for being here.
Yeah. Just happy and hope you know you matter.
Yeah. Arrivederci, pals.
Au revoir.
Bye.